Hello, dear friends. This is Katia, the vegan powerlifter, and I have missed y'all. It's been a while. Hopefully, I'm back on the roll with regular videos in the new studio. So, today we are going to be talking about the risks of lifting weights versus the alternatives. What can you do if you are afraid to get injured or to get too bulky or any myriad of things that people are afraid of when they join a gym? I have been lifting like for strength for many years now. But when I started lifting, I definitely was worried about getting injured, overtraining. I was worried. I don't think I was ever worried about getting too big because it's become pretty clear quickly for me that getting big was definitely very, very difficult. No matter how much I've trained, I only have gotten smaller usually because caloric deficit created by the exercise that I was doing was more than I was eating. So even if I gained weight, it was like a pound or two or like 5. It was never pounds and pounds of muscle. It was only fat. If I was like overeating after my running or after my whatever other light lifting that I was doing like in college when I started, it became very apparent that it was never muscle. So my fear of that has kind of subsided. Let's get into the injuries more. Let's get more into the other things that people are afraid, especially women are afraid when they join the gym. And I want to evaluate that with a little checklist. I have found this abbreviature for a checklist that you can look at basically any situation. We're going to look at lifting heavy weights, but you can look at anything with this. It's called BRAIN. B stands for benefits. R for risks. A, alternatives. I, intuition. And N, nothing. So let's say you have hired me as your powerlifting coach, and I've written you a program that includes lifting weights, first body weight, and then dumbbells, and then progressing to a barbell eventually when you get confident enough. And you're thinking like, it's kind of fast, I'm kind of worried. How would you assess if something is potentially too fast, if something should potentially be kept off your plate? So let's start with B, benefits. The benefits of lifting weights for an hour to an hour and a half, 3 times a week, which I probably wrote in your initial program like I do for the majority of my beginner clients, are huge. If you are female and you haven't lifted before, you haven't really worked out, you are going to notice that you're getting sore, your joints are hurting, your tendons are hurting. You're like, so what are the benefits of this? So the benefits of this are building muscle, building skeletal muscle. And also, if you get any cardio, if you have supersets or less rest, you're building cardiovascular resistance, which is amazing because the heart is the most important muscle in your body. So you're working on building your muscles, strength, and working on cardiovascular endurance, which is fantastic. Risks. You can fall. You can also fall just walking down the street. You can fall anywhere else outside the gym. Actually, the majority of athletes that I know, the majority of my clients, if they get injured, they get injured outside the gym. How about that? I wasn't looking up any statistics before making this video. This is more of like a let's chat about the approach of how we can look at strength training video that doesn't have any scientific references. But I have heard from other coaches and just kind of talking to people in life that folks usually focus on doing the exercise correctly and like they're very aware of their settings in the gym, and outside the gym, you're walking, you stumble, you fall. Like my mom was walking down the street once, completely flat ground, like flat asphalt, and she broke her nose. She stumbled and she fell flat on her nose and she broke her nose because she wasn't paying attention. We don't really pay attention when we help a friend move, when we lift a couch with like a round back. We don't warm up for that. We don't warm up before lifting a heavy grocery bag. We might not even expect it's that heavy until we try to lift it and then we pull something. or we sit for hours and hours on end trying to finish a project, and then we get up and, oh, something in the back. So I would say the risks of getting injured in the gym are usually a lot lower than in other settings in life when you're not being aware that you are doing something potentially dangerous. The alternatives to lifting is not lifting, right? The alternatives, I guess, are doing some kind of a dance class or fitness class or yoga or any other style of lifting rather than training for strength. And those alternatives, usually most women choose alternatives that include more cardio, just because it's more society acceptable. There's a lot of like stretching classes and studios and yoga. And I would say the minority of women do strength training. However, that has been changing recently, and it makes me very happy because I come to a powerlifting meet and like 70% of the competitors are women and the spotters and loaders are female. It's quite awesome. So girl power. I'm really happy for that. Intuition. That is kind of a question to self. Like, what do you intuitively feel? Like, how does intuitively lifting fit into your lifestyle? How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel while you train? So that's kind of a very nice introspective question. You might feel a lot of gym anxiety if you have never been to the gym before. So most of my clients who have never touched weights before, first, like for the first month or two, I write them a program for home. So they start doing at least like push-ups. If they're older or not as adjusted to strength stuff, they will start doing push-ups from the wall. They will start doing a lot of warm-up and cool down. Their workout might consist out of entirely what will in the future be their warm-up and cool down exercises, just because it is too much for their central nervous system to handle warm up and workout and cardio and cool down. Like you can't just throw all of those things at people who aren't well conditioned, and that's okay. You build up your resistance. You build up the time, how much you can spend in the gym effectively working out. You build up your muscular strength, your joints and your tendons get used to the loading, and then you can do it for longer and not get injured. But we usually start slowly. Most of my clients, I would say, are over 50, so we definitely start slowly. We start at the house for a month or two, and then I would ask them a lot of questions of how do you feel? How do you feel in your body? Does anything hurt? Are you worried? Are you worried while you lift? Are you worried like after you lift, when you're sore? Because a lot of people are worried because they cannot tell the difference between pain, soreness, and overtraining. And I will make a separate video on overtraining because it's a really important topic. Not a lot of people overtrain. I'm just going to say it out right here. But people are really confusing those things with muscle soreness, with delayed onset muscle soreness, when your muscles just hurt after they have been worked, after they have gotten extra blood and oxygen delivering nutrients to those muscles. Or, for example, if their joints have gotten extra calcium around them, and now lymph bringing nutrients around those joints, especially like lower back, doing some kind of movements representing good mornings or back extensions. People feel uncomfortable in their lower back. And I can't really say much outside of you're going to get used to that. It might hurt in the beginning. It hurts some people in the beginning, like it feels like acute pain, but that's okay. So I'm trying to calm folks down and say like, hey, if something super hurts, stop, let me know, and we can work at that. You can show me how you're doing the exercise. I ask all of my clients to send me videos of themselves lifting, especially if it's something that is new, if that's something they have questions in terms of exercise technique about, or if it's something that is uncomfortable. So they will show and we will mitigate the potential issues. Usually it's nothing to worry about. Usually they're doing something wrong and then we fix it and they're like, clearly. And the last one, the letter N, is doing nothing. That's my favorite. That's my favorite point. I really love that this risk assessment includes doing nothing because when you are, I guess, building the business, when I was doing like trying to do startup after college, doing nothing is something that the investors will ask you, like, what are you going to do if your potential customer decides to do nothing? That is usually the biggest enemy from people like buying a thing. But we don't look at our health this way. We don't look at partaking in some kind of a new regimen, be it traveling, dancing, meeting people, or strength training. We don't look at potential drawbacks of doing nothing versus doing a thing. We usually evaluate a thing versus the risks that the thing could potentially bring. So like lifting could potentially bring injuries, right? I could fall on my face while doing a push-up. I could drop the dumbbell on my foot. I could hurt my back while doing a deadlift. Oh no. How about on top of this, we also evaluate a huge block of what will you become? What will your body become if you never strength train in your life? What will your muscles be like if you never do any cardio, any strength training, anything remotely athletic? If you don't stretch, if you just kind of, wake up and do things that kind of are like parts of life and are also active, but not conscientious exercise by choice on top of that, so you could like bike around the city, walk, catch a bus, like clearly you will be on your feet, but not partake in any exercise classes, any dancing, any strength training, not hire a coach, not watch your nutrition, never figure out what calories and macronutrients are and why they are important, never give blood and check if you have nutrition deficiencies, if you have vitamin deficiencies in your blood. What could potentially happen in 5 years, in 10 years, in 30 years? Most people will lose, I forget the number. The statistics was on ACE exercise certification that I took, but it was something like most people will lose 10 pounds of muscle in like 10 or 20 years and replace that by fat. I need to find that. I need to find that because it was a great statistics. It's probably a little outdated, but if you never strength train during a certain amount of years, definitely by the time you get to retirement, most people are like, oh, why did I get weaker? Well, you got weaker because your body just took that muscle and replaced it with fat. And that's why you look worse. That's why you feel more out of breath. And that's why you are weaker. And that is a result of doing nothing versus getting injured. So please do not compare like lifting. Oh, I could get injured or not get injured. Compare potentially getting injured, very, very low chances of getting injured in the gym because you're paying attention, because there are coaches, there's gym owners that do not want for you to get injured because there's insurance, that there's a coach that profits off of you buying workouts from them. So they do not want for you to get injured. There's your family. Nobody wants for you to get injured. It is very unlikely you're going to get injured lifting weights versus doing nothing and just getting more feeble and weaker over time. Compare those two things. So that's my take for the day, the brain assessment. I hope you are going to apply it to potential things you are considering partaking in your life, from strength training to anything. I actually am pregnant right now, so I'm going to release a couple pregnant training and nutrition videos in the next couple weeks, and this brain assessment has been taught to us in the doula course that we took, and I was like, damn, we need to apply it to everything. This is amazing. So yeah, let me know how you liked the video. If you liked this one, you will also like other videos on breathing or exercise technique. Let me know what you think, and I will chat with you in the next one. Bye.